one last chapter of Order of the Phoenix today, and that is the Second War Begins. And despite the chapter heading, we don't actually have a whole lot of the war prep. That is to say, of course, that we had sort of the first opening salvo of the war in the Department of Mysteries, with the battle between the 6 Hogwarts students and the Death Eaters, culminating, of course, in the duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort. Can we say there was a victory one side or the other? Unfortunately, the Order of the Phoenix lost Sirius Black. Voldemort did have a couple of his Death Eaters arrested. Voldemort was officially sort of outed to the magical community, but he then also got the Dementors. So, for the beginning of a war, we're actually starting out with a pretty even push and pull. Now, what the beginning of the Second War actually gives us as a chapter is grief as a key thing that is going to exist because a war is going to exist. We come with Harry through this first few days of not having his godfather anymore. And we see him being sort of pulled apart in a lot of ways. Usually when we have the end of the novel, we've got Harry moving forward to something that he knows, and he's figured out more of himself. And in this one we actually have less of him figuring out himself and more figuring out that he's got a lot of issues and problems and questions that he doesn't know the answer to. He has simple things like when he's by himself he wants company, but when he's in company he wants to be by himself. And this is actually something that I experience with my own depression. He doesn't want to talk about Sirius, even if other people do want to talk about him. But in fact, he can talk about Sirius with certain people. Like, he has no problem with Luna when she brings it up, because he is aware that she has experienced a moment like this. And in fact, they have a moment of bonding over both being bullied, which is what Luna's experiencing at the moment, and having seen the death of somebody. And Luna actually is very open and shares the fact that she saw her mother die. She recognizes in this moment that it's not her as the great listener and Harry as the weeping person that speaks. She recognizes that this needs to be a relationship or Harry's grief will shut him down, which is not quite something anybody else has quite realized yet. We see some people trying, but they're not quite trying in a way that communicates with him. Luna's the one that has the moment that actually clicks with him. Even Sir Nearly-Headless Nick has difficulty explaining the fact that Sirius likely isn't going to come back as a ghost. Despite the fact that, again, this is like a really obvious stage of grief for Harry, this bargaining of, oh, I could use this mirror which he's now rediscovered, or maybe Sirius will come back as a ghost. He's trying to figure out ways that he can hold on to his godfather, and it actually takes Luna simply saying, I have my memories and I have the people who are left, and that is enough for me. It still hurts me, but I need to know that I have enough to keep going. And even when things are stripped away from me, I can keep going because those things will come back. She, of course, is speaking literally about the pieces of her clothes and her books, her personal belongings that have gone missing. But we know that Luna tends to speak deeper than that. So she is pointing to the fact that right now, for Harry, it feels like everything's been stripped away from him and taken from him. But those things have a way of coming back, even when we don't expect them. And this is actually a really cool little point to the fact that all the people that Harry lost are going to come back to him right before the end in Deathly Hallows. With the eye open at the close. He is going to see Sirius again in the odd place that he's not going to expect him. And Luna has the ability to see that and know how to communicate it well. We also start seeing, of course, the sort of initial preparation, though Hermione does point out it's not the real thing yet, but we are getting there. Bits and pieces like the fact that the Prophet has admitted that Voldemort's back and has started informing people how they can protect themselves. The fact that Dumbledore's army has sort of remained staunch in this moment. We don't have a lot of blame being placed on Harry for having put some of the DA members in trouble. And in fact, we have them get up and defend him and against Draco, Crabbe, and Goyle, who are showing, again, a tendency to be treating this like a war. They did aim to ambush him. So we are starting to see the defense needed in a more real situation for these kids who weren't part of the Ministry mission. We have quiet moments where things are still okay. When Harry and Ron are playing chess and Ginny admits she's dating Dean Thomas. That is a quiet moment that says, this war is happening, but we are still living our lives. And that is key. And then, of course, at the end, when all his friends come together in this moment of you are you and we are us, and we can't change that, but we can try and help in any way. And that is a key moment for Harry, knowing that he's going to be on his own for the summer, and knowing he's going to have to deal with his grief, and deal with the Dursleys. Just looking at his friends without words, because there are no words to express the love and support he is feeling right now. There is grief, but there are also moments beyond that grief. There is the war, but there are moments beyond it that are key. And we cannot get sucked into one or the other. We cannot get sucked into the hope that all the people we are going to lose are going to come back to us as ghosts. But maybe they will come back to us in the little ways. The moment you smell someone's perfume. The moment you feel something and it feels just like when they would smile at you. Those are the little ways that we retain the people we have lost. And it is okay to mourn. It's very healthy too as well. It's okay to not know if you want to be with people or be by yourself. It is okay to be confused and sad and angry. And just know that there are moments beyond that. And all of that is going to carry through, but there are moments where that will not be the main thing that is part of you. It will always be part of you, but it will not be only you. And you will not be only it. The second war is beginning. But we and these characters are ready to face it. The opening salvo has occurred, and they are willing to move forward and love and fight and win and cry and die and live. And that is key. That is key. Okay. As it stands now, you of course are probably watching this quite a bit later than I'm filming it, because I do have a nice buffer zone. But I'm hoping to do a bit of a bonus series with Beetle the Bard, because I don't have a copy of it, but my library does, and I will lose access to that library soon. So expect that to be happening before we get underway with the Half-Blood Prince. And, yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope you do too. See you next time.